welcome to my channel. My name is Unumfundo Zondi, and if you're new here, click on that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment down below. Click on that bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. I upload a new video each and every week. And as you might have seen by today's title, we'll be talking about mental illnesses. And I have with me a special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Marlene Nguli. I'm originally from Bizana, but currently residing in Kloof. I'm a 22-year-old final year student at Rosebank College. My journey started late 2014, just after I had my daughter. For me, that was a very overwhelming experience, and there were just a lot of things that were going on, and there are just so many things that I couldn't possibly move past, like with regards to everything that happened, that had been happening throughout the entire time, the entire year, and just throughout the entire period where I was supposed to have my daughter. And then I just started getting sick. Like I would get sick, I would be in and out of hospital, and the doctors couldn't really pinpoint what was the actual reason behind everything that I was feeling at that moment. And I couldn't really talk to anyone because with us black families, you can't really express yourself, and you can't really talk to anyone about how you're feeling and all that. Everyone was just concerned about when is your baby daddy gonna show up and do his part in regards to raising the baby and everything, and nobody really cared about what I was going through and how I was really feeling. So that's when everything started to kick in. The fact that he wasn't there for my child, and he wasn't there when I thought he was the one that was going to be there the most. But I thank God for the support system that I had at that time, because my parents were very supportive throughout the whole thing. So I never really had that feeling of being alone and abandoned and everything. But there were a lot of people who were judging, you're only 15, all those things that people normally say and all that. So I felt judged, and I felt like who was really accepting me for yonke lento that had happened. So I couldn't really talk, and all the emotions and feelings that I had, I kept bottling them inside, and I couldn't really, talk to anyone, because it felt like nobody was just going to understand what I was going through, because everyone was just all about judging me and all that. So as I'd said before that, it just became this cycle of me getting sick, being taken to the doctor, and then they would say this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, but it was never really finally diagnosed what the actual problem was. And until this other time, my mom was like, okay, I'm tired of taking you to the doctors, you're in and out of hospital, and we can't actually pinpoint what the problem is. Well, my mom's a professional nurse, so she knows these things better than I did at that time, because I had no idea what was happening. So my mom was like, but I think whatever is wrong with you is more psychological, but it's manifesting physically. So at first I didn't understand, but I knew that she had a point, because at the back of my head I was like, hey, wait, there is something wrong, but I just really couldn't talk to her about it. And she would reach out, if there's anything that's bothering you, if there's anything you're going through, you must talk to me and everything. But we black people, we're just not used to that. We don't do that. You don't rock up to your mother and you're like, girl, this is how I'm feeling. No, you don't do that. We've never had such platforms to express ourselves in that type of way. So fast forward to late 2018. I was just having it started as chest pains and everything. At that time I didn't know that I was having panic attacks. So I would when I'm sitting all by myself thinking, because I think a lot, I would think a lot, it was better when I'm with people and I'm around people, because they're gonna distract me and everything. But when I'm alone, reality would hit really, really hard, and I'd get to think about everything, and then I'd start feeling bad. I'd blame myself, I'd condemn myself for everything, and then that's when the panic attacks would happen. I would feel I'd have chest pains. I would sweat, I would shake, I would not be able to breathe, I'd literally run out of breath.
Yeah.
And then I consulted this GP that we normally use at home. I told my dad, and my dad assumed that it was just maybe I have asthma, but I've never had asthma, so I was like, no, it can't be asthma. So I consulted my GP and everything, and during that time, it was when my baby daddy had taken me to court, and according to him, I was depriving him access to the child. So like after he was away for like 5 years and everything. So now he would just decided that he was gonna rock up and then he'd take me to court and and demand that izinto be done the way that he wanted them to be done. So I was under a lot of stress, and I guess he was reopening wounds that I thought I had healed. Because that's the thing with me. I had wounds and I just did not want to admit that I was actually bleeding. You know, there's a friend of mine that normally said to me, God doesn't heal you when you're not honest about your wounds.
True.
So I was like, reality was hitting hard, and I was realizing that I hadn't healed, and I just needed to allow myself to feel, allow myself to heal, and then that way I would be able to move on and just be able to move past everything that was happening. And then I consulted our GP back at home in Bizana, and he referred me to Dr. Singh here in Durban at Dudok Hospital. And that's when he actually made a diagnosis that indeed I was suffering from depression, that I had an anxiety disorder, and that I was bipolar. But my bipolar is not that bad; it's a mild bipolar. So I'm sure a lot of people may be asking themselves, what exactly is depression? What is anxiety? And what is bipolar? You know, people tend to confuse depression with emotions. Well, in fact, they tend to confuse mental illness with emotions. Emotions come and go. Like today you can feel sad, and then 4 hours later you feel happy. Those are emotions. They fluctuate. Like one minute you're feeling like this, and then the next minute it's like that. But depression is shallow. It's constant. It's that deep feeling of being sad. You know, abanye abantu would claim that they are depressed because they've been through a divorce, they've been through a breakup, or they've lost a job, or somebody. But those are just emotions. When you get another job the next day, you'll be happy again. And when you find another spouse next week, you'll be happy again. But with depression, nothing makes you happy. Like you live in this tiny world all by yourself, and it seems like nobody understands what you're going through. You're just always sad, you feel empty, you feel lonely, and nothing ever fills up that space, that shallowness, that feeling of being empty, no matter how hard you try. And the worst thing is that you always have to put up a front, because andizukwazi uya phambi kwabantu ndifike ngiqumbile okokoko and everything, because people are gonna want to know, why is Bali like this, why is Nomfundo like this. So we are so good at, but like people who suffer from depression are so good at putting up a front. Like you would swear that with everything that I have going on in my life, I'm happy, I have it all under control. But the reality is, behind closed doors, I cry myself to sleep every night. That's the reality of it. Like I cry myself to sleep every night, and the next day I'm gonna wake up because I have to be functional. I have to function. I have to be productive and everything. So I have to like wear the mask again and pretend of like everything is okay. And then with anxiety, it's that feeling of being scared. Like you just feel anxious for no apparent reason. Like I could be sitting here and the next thing it would feel like my heart's gonna pop out. Like you just feel scared and anxious for no apparent reason. You just feel like something's bad, something that's really, really bad's gonna happen, and then your heart would like beat up really fast, and you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. And to an extent that I used to get anxiety attacks sometimes, like when it happens like really hard. Like if I'm around people, I'd have to actually excuse myself and go somewhere else where I feel like I can try to calm myself down and try to like ground and everything. Like by grounding game, I mean that I should find 5 things I can see, 5 things I can touch, 5 things that I can actually smell, so that I can be able to like keep calm and be back to my normal state over again. And then with bipolar, abantu bipolar that is moods. That's what they normally call it. But in actual fact, bipolar, it's being severely depressed, or to be like to having a psychotic behavior.
Yeah.
Like a highly psychotic behavior. 1 minute I'm extremely sad, and then the next minute I'm extremely happy. And the next minute I'm sad, and the next minute I'm behaving like a psycho. Like there's no in between. Like it's just one of the two. I'm psychotic, or I'm just deeply depressed. It's one of the two. And when it happens, I cut myself. Like, because like I think I do have scars here that still show, and I have some of them here, because when it happens, I literally have to find the closest thing that I can use to relieve the pain and everything. So many people would ask me, Bali, you are smart, you're beautiful, you come from a good family, like you literally have easy though that some other people only dream of. What led you to this? And in honest truth and everything, I just got there. I don't know. And as soon as it happened, I had to embrace it. Not really embrace it. I had to accept the fact that it was now my reality, and it was something that I had to actually live with. Zizi ndo that I had to function with, and on a daily basis. With everything that had happened, one thing I thank God for, Uba, even though I tried taking my own life 3 times, I never really succeeded, because you know, I believe God like really has big plans for me, and everything. So when I get through these phases, these episodes where I get severely depressed and severely anxious, because now you know the thing with anxiety, it plays tricks on you. You could tell me that I'm beautiful, and I'll just look at you and be like, you lying. You're just trying to make me feel better, but I know you lie. Like, I just have those insecurities where I feel like even when I'm walking in town alone, I always have that feeling like someone's watching me, and it's just like that. And most of the time when I go to town, like maybe when I'm back home and everything, I prefer staying in the car. I do go to town with my parents, but I end up staying in the car, because I feel like Kandiamba, everyone is just looking at me and they're just laughing at me, because it feels like my whole life is just exposed to strangers. And that's how torturing it is living with mental illnesses. So most people really don't understand. I normally encourage young people that if you ever feel like something is wrong, reach out, because mna problem yam was bottling things up and not talking. And my psychiatrist normally says this, but my biggest problem is this: I don't talk. Like even when I was like admitted in a psychiatric ward early 2019, most people were like, okay, it means that like you're really going mad to be like admitted in a psych ward and everything. People were like probably running really mad, but I felt like it was, for me, it was I always say this, something, no matter how challenging it is, if I have to go through it, then it means that it's preparing me for something else that's like yet to come. So I was like, okay, it wasn't nice because I stayed there for like a full month, and I was at my lowest at that time, and it just felt like everything was just going south, and I just felt like I was all alone. But you know, when you have friends that you know they are genuinely there for you, and when you have a family that supports you no matter what, you know, that's one thing I'm grateful to God for, the fact that I have a very supportive family, because half the time, especially my dad, Uma Makeno does understand this indo, because she's been through them, like on a medical perspective, you know, since she's a nurse and everything. But with my dad, it was hard for him to actually learn Uba, because sometimes he'd storm into my room and he'd find me cutting myself, and he wouldn't understand why. And I couldn't explain why I just randomly take a razor and then just decide to cut myself and everything. So currently I'm on medication, and I'm being treated for the conditions, and I'm just trying to take it day by day. You know, there are days where I feel like, okay, I can actually do this, and then there are days where I feel like I just can't, like I just can't. Everything just gets too overwhelming and everything just gets too much. But you know, I know and I believe that there's gonna be a day where I'm gonna look back and be like, uba wena Nkosi ubungenami, ngingaphela endleleni. So you know, that's what motivates me in everything that happens, that I'm just gonna, you know, look back, tell somebody my story, and it's just gonna be, you know, a survival mode, like a survival guide or something for them. They, you know, like if she could do it, then you also can do it. Like, you know, Usis Anela normally says to me, you should always fight, Bali, no matter how hard it gets. And you know, sometimes when I'm sitting and I'm thinking, I just think of all the things that people have said to me, and I know that my fight against depression, anxiety, and bipolar isn't only for me. I have people that I have to live for. I have a child that I need to live for. I have a family to live for, and I also need to know to be a better version for myself, and not only for abantu who are close to me, but also for people, you know, for myself, and to just
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Oof, that was too much. I mean, the one that your story is very powerful, first of all, and thank you so much for having the courage to come forth and share it with us. I'm sure it's gonna help many people, because many people are suffering silently, and people end up taking their own lives. Whereas, if you can reach out, if you can
just
talk
reach out to anyone,
just to one person, and it could really make it different. And I thank you for coming forth and sharing your story with us, and I really hope it's gonna change a lot of things.
And should anyone ever need to talk, I'm also a phone call away. You can just contact Unomfundo. She's just gonna give you my tens, and then
definitely
I'll take on this journey with you. Like no one should ever feel like they're alone, and nobody should ever feel like they're fighting this all by themselves. You know, we can just be one big family and fight this mental illness together.
Thank you. So if ever you need to talk, I have my details on the description box, and I'll also leave Mbali's there, so you can contact her anytime you need to talk. We are here. So if you feel like you can't talk to your family, we are here to talk, and we are here to help. Because I mean, talking really does help.
It's very therapeutic.
And for other people who are not suffering with any kind of mental illnesses, I'd like to remind you guys that we all need to be careful. We all need to be careful of the things we say to other people, of how we act around other people, because
you can't simply say umdune moods, because you don't know what they're going through. And also, people who don't suffer from mental illness have this tendency of saying that, because I've had a lot of people doing that to me, saying that to me, uphakeme umudi, like you don't want to socialize, like social anxiety gets the worst of me. So I can't really force myself to do something that I can't really do, because what happens when during the whole thing I break down
and you start getting attacked.
and like seriously, people really need to, like, maybe I've also gotten things like, you need to get over it. You need to. It's not the type of things you say
that
to someone
so
it's not the type of things you just say to someone who has mental illness. Guys, mental illness is serious, and we don't need to keep losing more lives in order for us to take a step in ensuring that everyone gets the help that they need.
It's real.
Yeah, it's very real. It's very real.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mbali, for coming forth, and we are so happy. I know I'm very happy to have you on this channel, on this video. And if you guys would like to hear more on insights of what actually helps her, what she does, any strategies, I'll call them, she uses to actually overcome and feel much better. Just comment down in the section, and I'll let you guys know. We can actually do another video like this, because I think it's gonna reach a lot of people and it's gonna help a lot of people, and it's gonna save a lot of lives. Just know that you're not alone. First of all, God loves you.
Yeah, more than anything.
More than anything, and there's nothing you can ever do that could change how much God loves you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Subscribe and join the family. Like this video, subscribe, you guys. I noticed a lot of people watching my videos are actually not subscribed. Like 56% of the people who watch are not subscribed. Please find that red button and click on it. Subscribe and join the family. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.